Greetings everyone. Welcome to the video series where we'll be discussing the solutions of the activity questions. In this particular video, we'll be looking at the solutions of the activity 1.1, which basically revolves around the vectors. So we'll be discussing question 1 and question 2. So let's get started. So first we have question 1 with us. So in the question 1, we are given two vectors. A is 1, 2 and B that is 2, 3. And here we have to mark the correct options, the set of correct options. So we can see the concepts which are discussed here are basically vector addition and scalar multiplication. Scalar multiplication. So if we check vector addition, what vector addition is? So here in vector addition, if we are given two vectors, let's say v1 is a comma b and now v2 is c comma d. So when we'll add these two vectors, v1 plus v2, the sum is going to be the sum of the corresponding elements, that is a plus c comma b plus d. Whereas in the scalar multiplication, let's say we are given this vector v1 is equal to a comma b, and we are given some constant k that belongs to some real number. So here if we do k scalar multiplied with v, so k would be multiplied with each of the term of vector v1. That is, the product would become k times a comma k times b. So if we check one example for vector addition, it could be 1, 2 plus 3, 4. That would give us 1 plus 3, that is 4, and 2 plus 4, that is 6. Similarly, if we take one example of scalar multiplication, here the example could be if we do 2 times of 3, 4, the product would be 2 times 3, that is 6, 2 times 4, that is 8. Now, based on these two concepts, we'll have to answer the questions that are given to us on the left hand side. So first is, what would be the value of 2a? So here we know, let's move to the next page. Here we know that a is given as 1, 2. So if we do 2 times a, it would be 2 times of 1, 2. That is 2 times 1, 2 times 2. That is going to be 4. So 2a is 2, 4. So yes, option 1 is correct. Now moving to the second option where we are asked what would be the value of 3b. So let's see what b is. B is 2, 3. B is 2, 3. So 3b is going to be 3 times 2, that is 6, 3 times 3, that will be 9. 6, 9. So yeah, this option is also correct. Now let's check what a plus b would be. What would be the value of a plus b? So here if we see a plus b, it is just 1, 2 plus 2, 3. So as we saw earlier, that when we do scale vector addition, we just add the corresponding terms. So 1 will get added with 2. So 1 plus 2 is going to give us 3, whereas the second term would be 2 plus 3, that is 5. Now, in the last option, okay, this is correct as well, by the way, 3, 5 is the correct answer. In the last option, we are asked that what would be the value of a minus b. Now here, a minus b, if we look closely, it is just 1, 2 plus minus 1 times b, that is 2, 3. And we know how the scalar multiplication works. So this is going to remain 1, 2, but this would become minus 2, minus 3. So overall, the value of a minus b for me is going to be 1 minus 2, that is minus 1, comma 2 minus 3, that is again minus 1. So the value of a minus b is going to be minus 1 comma minus 1. And let's see whether it is correct or not. Yes, so this is also correct. So in the question 1, all 4 options are correct. In the question 2, we are given that v1 is equal to 1 comma 1, v2 is equal to 1 comma 0, and v3 is equal to 0 comma 1. And based on this information, we have to tell that which of the following options are correct. So let's analyze the first option. In the first option, we are given 2 times v1 plus 0 times v2 plus v3. So if we put the values of v1, v2, v3, it would look like 2 times 1 comma 1 plus 0 times 1 comma 0 plus v3, that is 0 comma 1. Now if we take the scalar multiplication of 1 comma 1 with 2, the answer would be 2 comma 2, because first you would be multiplying the first one with 2 and then you would be multiplying this one with 2. So the answer would be 2 comma 2. Plus if you take the scalar multiplication any vector with 0, it is going to result in a 0 vector. Why? Because each of the component will get multiplied with 0 and the resultant would be 0. So it would be 0 comma 0 plus the third component is 0 comma 1. So now if we take the vector addition, it is going to result in 2 plus 0 plus 0, that would be 2, comma 2 plus 0 plus 1, that would be 3. So the expression 1 is coming out to be 2 comma 3. So let's check whether it is correct or not. Yes, the option 1 is correct. Now moving on to the option 2, we have 0 times of v1 plus 2 times of v2 plus 3 times of v3. Now again putting the values, see here we need not to write 0 times v1, because we have seen if we take the scalar multiplication of any vector 0, the resultant becomes the 0 vector itself. But just for the sake of writing, let's write it this time, and from the next time itself we will not write it. So 0 times 1 comma 1 plus 2 times of v2. So v2 is going to be 1 comma 0 plus 3 times of v3 is 0 comma 1. So we know that this would become 0 comma 0. Let's write it. This would become 2 comma 0, and finally this 3 times v3 would be 0 comma 3. And if we take the scalar addition, vector addition, it is going to be 2 comma 3. So option 2 is correct as well. Now moving to the option 3. For that we'll be needing one more slide. So let's create it. So if we analyze the option 3, we have 2v1 plus v2 plus 0 v3. 2v1 plus v2 plus 0 times v3. Let's check it once. It's 2v1 plus v2 plus 0 times of v3, and v1 is 1 comma 1, v2 is 1 comma 0, and v3 is 0 comma 1. So it's 2 times 1 comma 1 plus v2 is 1 comma 0, and because this term is just going to become 0, we will not write this term. There is no need to write this term. So it would be 2 comma 2 plus 1 comma 0. Eventually that would become 3 comma 0. 3 comma 2. So if we check the option 3 here, option 3 is incorrect. It should be 3 comma 2, not 2 comma 3. And if we analyze the option 4 finally, which is 0 times of v1 plus 3 times of v2 plus 2 times of v3, it would be, again we need not to write this term because that would eventually become 0. This term if we write, it's 3 times of v2. v2 is 1 comma 0 plus 2 times of v3. v3 is 0 comma 1. So the answer in this case would be 3 comma 0 plus 0 comma 2, that is 3 comma 2. Again the option 4 is incorrect because 3 comma 2 was the right answer. So overall the questions that we discussed were based on the concepts of vector addition or scalar multiplication. So all the very best and see you in the next video.